This, guys, is a game changer. How's it going? Motor City Miner here, coming at you from the house. And yes, we are actually in my kitchen. And you're like, why are we in the kitchen? What is this weird white box in front of you? Why does it say Canaan, which is clearly a mining company? Well, this is it. I'm one of the first people in the world to have the new Avalon Nano 3. This is a new home miner for mining BTC, and it is a game changer. You're like, what do you mean by game changer? It is literally remaking the entire BTC home mining segment. How? Let me put this into stats for you. 140 watts max, 4 terahash, $100. Keyword, $100. $130 if you add the power supply. But that's right. This thing is not only fantastic build quality from a name brand manufacturer in the Bitcoin mining industry, but now the cheapest Bitcoin miner in the world that is not like a USB lottery miner or something like that. $100 for 4 terahash and a barely noticeable 140 watts. This thing is a game changer in the mini BTC home miner segment. You know, this knocks pretty much any home miner for BTC out of the park on both hash rate and, if not on hash rate, on price and wattage. So put it in comparison, and we'll kind of go through all this in, on the computer a little later. But example, FutureBit, the Apollo 2 or the Apollo 1 if you have the Apollo 1, but that one's even more blown out of the water. But let's assume you got the Apollo 2, which currently retails for about $800. Well, that $800 gets you about 9 terahash, but not at 140 watts. More like, 400 watts. Again, $100. Or $130 if you add the PSU, for 4 terahash. And did I mention it looks immaculate? I mean, look at this thing. The build quality on this is insane. Little LCD screens, little heater. You can even change. Look at this. You can change, because it's magnetic, the direction of the exhaust fins to change where it's shooting the heat. Because this is meant to be a heater and look like a heater. You could put it on any bookshelf in your house. No one would even know what this thing is, except you. Buy one for the wife, buy one for the girlfriend. They can stay nice and warm. They're always cold anyway. But they get to stay nice and warm. You earn some Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, $100, 4 terahash, 140 watts. Absolutely insane, Canaan. Thank you for notifying me of this. We'll go onto the computer and kind of go through where you can get one of these and everything. But this was actually a interesting proposition from Canaan. If you've watched any of my content in the past, you would know that I actually prefer Canaan BTC ASICs over Bitmain. I actually only have Canaan BTC ASICs at this point. Yes, they tend to be a little less performance-wise, but for the amount of money you save and the fact that their warranties are infinitely longer, 1 year warranty versus I think it's 180 days from Bitmain. Their customer service is awesome. They also have US warehouses. So if you do buy from them, I do recommend always going through one of their sales reps. So, find your local sales rep on their website. But yeah, if you are in the US, they do have a US warehouse, and they can make sure to ship from that one, which saves you on customs and everything like that. So I've always preferred Canaan over Bitmain, just way better customer service and, better business model. But this was an interesting unit. So they actually reached out, to longtime purchasers, customers. I think it was back in December. I can't quite remember anymore. Saying, they wanted to launch this new product. They didn't really know if there's much market for it, though. So they actually did it on Indiegogo. So link down below. Which is also where you can buy this. Indiegogo, if you're not familiar, is kind of like a competitor to Kickstarter. So, this project was only going to come to fruition if they received enough interest. which obviously they did because it's in front of you right here and in front of me. So, again, being a valued customer of theirs, and I did purchase this. They did not give this to me for free. But being a valued customer in the past, their local product rep, thank you, Cecilia, for reaching out to me about this opportunity. Sent me a link, as well as Shirley. Shirley is replacing Cecilia in the U.S., so just a note to those watching, as the U.S. product rep. But Shirley and Cecilia sent me an email, about this product, pretty much before it launched on Indiegogo, so that, past customers could be the first at it, and they had a super early bird, about 50 units, for, prior customers, and got an even better deal, which we'll get into, all the different things you can buy now. But like I said, currently, it is $100 for just the unit without the PSU. If you want to add the PSU, it's $130. This is all US, on Indiegogo. So link down below, and we'll kind of go into that a little bit later. But yeah, again, crowdfunded, obviously met its funding goals, and here it is with one of the first 50 to go out. This thing, it is awesome. This is, you can see with my hand here, it's about the size of my palm, or my whole hand, sorry. And, it's pretty light, but very well built. I already showed you how you can remove the screen to change the direction of the airflow. Coming out, we'll just pop this off real bit quick so you can see what's in there. So you can see, there's our hashboard in there with all the heat sinks. Fans are on the other side. Again, you can change the direction. This is shooting the air down. You can shoot it up, or you can just keep it off if you want to come straight out. We're gonna snap that back on there. On the intake side, all you got is, an intake grill and a USB-C power. Now, again, you don't have to buy their PSU. I do kind of recommend it though, because being 140 watts, not all your standard laptop chargers are going to be powerful enough. But if you already have one that's rated for at least 140 watts, you can obviously use that. But if you are not rated for 140 watts, I highly recommend either buying your own new PSU with USB-C for 140 watts or more, or you can buy the one here that comes with it for $30. So, like I said, game changer. FutureBit destroyed. Yes, FutureBit has higher terahash per unit, but you're paying 8 times the cost and using way more watts. So, FutureBit knocked out of the park. What other ones we got? The BitAxe. This thing retails for cheaper than the BitAxe. The whole point of the BitAxe is low cost. That's their whole thing. Like, that's their shtick, $150. Here's your little lottery miner, 5.5 terahash. $100, 4 terahash. Literally 8 times the performance, cheaper than the $150 BitAxe. Again, knocked out of the park. No one even cares anymore. What other ones we got? We got the Moonlander. The Moonlander, yes. Moonlander, I think it goes for $400 to $500 and still only half a terahash. $100, $100, 4 terahash. And did I forget to mention, you can set the heat mode. So right now we're gonna cycle through real quick. You can see we're on 2.3 terahash, level low. That's an L for low. So it's on low heat right now. This is the output heat, so 62 degrees Celsius. You can cycle through all this. It has the time and date. What else has it got on here? I guess those are just the 3 things. But you can change it to low, medium, and high. So if it's a really cold winter day and the wife's really, really cold, or the girlfriend's really, really cold, that's all you gotta do. Double click this button. And look at that, we're now at medium. It does take a couple minutes, for the hash rate to get up to speed. So we'll come back, and actually I'll just keep talking about how awesome this thing is while that ramps up to medium. So yeah, like I said, this was crowdfunded. I'm one of the original funders, one of the original 50, so that's how I got this early. But you can still buy these, and they now actually have them even in colors. Yes, originally it was just white and black, and some of the original backers' ideas were like, what if we could get this in colors? You know, some of our girlfriends, some of our wives, you know, or boyfriends, you know, or husbands. There are some women in the crypto space. Like colors, and maybe that would be more appealing to them on their desk. So yes, there are actually colors now available, which we'll go through on their website in a little bit. As you can see, we are now up to 92 on the temperature. Again, the hash rate shown on here is an average over the last certain amount of minutes, so it will take a little bit of time for that to go up. But nice to see. This is the power button, obviously, which if you hold it, will turn it off, but if you just tap it, it changes the light settings. So we can do some flashing, we can do breathing, you know, some RGB right there. There is no way on the unit to change the color with the buttons here, but there is also an app for this guy. Yes, that's right, there is an app. So let me grab my phone and show you all the things you can do in the app with this guy. For this unit, you're gonna have to download the Avalon remote app. There's the Avalon symbol there. You can see I have it. This is on Android, but it's gonna be the exact same on iOS. You can see I already got this unit in, and I'm gonna do a how-to after this on how to actually set this up. But yeah, I just wanna introduce you guys to this unit because it's super cool. So you click on here and you can see all the different things. Look, you can see that we can set the temperature, which is your low, medium, and high hash rates. You can obviously turn off the light. So there we go, we turned off the light. Great. You can turn it back on, except I'm horrible at doing this. There we go. Turned it back on, there we go. You can even, you know, flash, breathing, loop, whatever. You can change the brightness, you know, we can tone this down. Okay, there we go, it's a lot less bright. And we can make it a lot more brighter again. There you go. See, we're just putting it all over the place. Other things you can do, color temperature. Yes, that's right. If you don't like the blue glow, you can make it more yellow. Or if you really like blue, let's go all the way blue. There you go. Other things, you can do any color RGB. You want purple? There we go. You want red? There we go. You want green? Because green's my favorite color. If you know anything about me, there's green. Look at that, awesome. Again, you can change the brightness level and all that fun stuff. So, you know, make it your own. Or if whoever's using this doesn't like having a light on, well, you can just turn it off. And then no one would really know, except it kind of looks like a little, you know, space heater. You know, keep your hands warm by the keyboard while you're working. Nothing too crazy like that. We're gonna keep the lights on just for fun though, in the moment. What else is in the app here? So, that's pretty much about basics of the app. Obviously, you can do your miner management, but we'll get into that a little later for a multitude of reasons. So during setup, they do have a little bit of work to do on the app side, which I'll get into when we go through the setup here in a moment. It's a good first pass, but definitely have some recommendations for them. It's a little clunky. The whole setup process and connecting to your Wi-Fi, I ran into a few issues. Everything's easy to address, you just gotta be prepared for it. And as you can see, look at that, we're up to 3.18 terahash now at medium level. And you know, just for fun, let's you know, do some testing here. Wow, my phone is dirty. Let's put it up to high and see what we can get on high. Again, this should be a 4 terahash unit or right around there, plus or minus 5%, they say, just like any ASIC. So you can see already that it is switched to the H there. And I would imagine our heat will start rising here, as well as our average hash rate. Yep, there goes the heat. Again, this is the exhaust heat that it's telling you, not the chip temperature, which we'll get into as well. There is a way to view all that. You can view everything on your computer if you know this unit's IP address, which as a miner, you know, I do prefer that over the app. There's just more data, more information available. And as you can tell, you might hear a tiny hum now. Now, I've noticed on low and medium, you pretty much can't hear anything. Like, it is a silent space heater. On high, it's a very quiet hum. Probably can't hear that, but it does exist. We'll say, like, you know, pretty much a whisper quiet. But you know, nothing disturbing. Definitely something that you could still have next to you on your desk while you're working and keeping your fingers warm, or your body, or whatever. So again, awesome unit here. It's honestly a game changer to me. I mean, if at this price point with this terahash, yes, the halving's coming up. Is it the most profitable? Absolutely not. But it isn't. It doesn't have to be a lottery miner at 4 terahash. You can get consistent income. It uses so few watts. You know, maximum 140 watts if you're on high mode. The other modes are even less. I think it's 90 and 60 if I remember off the top of my head, for low, medium and low respectively. I mean, it's pretty much free to run and earns, you know, pre-halving about 60 cents a day or so. Post-halving, obviously, it'll be about half that, so 30 cents. But again, it's just, for this cost at this terahash, there has never been something like this before in the BTC mining space. Traditionally, you know, the last 10 years, BTC mining has been cost prohibitive for the average person to get into on a mining perspective. Now it's not. This thing is awesome. So we're going to hop on over to the Actually, we're not going to go hop over to... So we're going to actually kind of go through the setup process here, and then we'll be going into some information on the computer and really giving a deep dive on this awesome unit. But before we cut away to that, you can see we're already almost up to the 4 terahash and 125 degree output. So nice stuff there on the high mode. So yeah, gonna head on over to the table and go through the setup process. All right, so if you do end up getting one of these awesome Avalon Nano 3s, again, don't really know why there's a 3, but you know, maybe they had some of these prior, but it must have been a real long time ago because I could not find anything on Nano 1 or 2. If you do get one, this is the box it comes in. This is the PSU. If you do get the PSU with it, again, that's an additional $30. But for $100, this is what you get. And honestly, this packaging looks like something from Apple, like almost like an iPhone. Again, not that big, maybe more like an iPad, but you know, very much Apple-esque in the box view. Everything's nice, clean, slick, simple. So yeah, if you open this up here, there we go. There we go. This is what you'll be greeted with. It does have nice foam on the inside, so there's foam top. Nice and snug in here. This is all foam around the sides of it too. So where my fingers are here, it's all very, very nice, dense, high density foam. Sorry, had to get that out there. So once you get it out, you know, it does just sit out. Here's the instructions down below, which we'll kind of do a quick walkthrough on how to set this up. But again, just nice high density foam. Everything's just really, really well done on this unit for $100. Honestly, this is like, it's astounding to me. I cannot figure out how this is $100. I mean, I hope to keep it $100, but like, considering like, you know, iPhones are like $1,000. I really don't know how this is $100 at this build quality. Again, this feels immaculate. I mean, this is high quality resin right here, plastic resin. It's not, you know, your really cheap stuff. Again, just like really cool details like the magnetic fins, so you can change what direction the air is flowing. Good stuff. So we're gonna kind of go through the process here of setting up. It's real simple. Again, there's a couple, we'll call them, you know, a little speed bumps that they got to work through in the app. But hopefully they get there soon. So I'm gonna unpack the PSU here as well. This one I'm gonna have to get a knife to cut the tape on though. So we'll be right back once I get this open. And even the PSU, nice branding, nice finish on this. Again, just everything's really well done on this product. I was honestly shocked when I got it, especially being like a Kickstarter. I thought, you know, it'd be like, I mean, the renderings made it look cool and everything. It looked pretty much like this, but you never really know. But like, even this brick is like super heavy, like clearly well made. Has this nice three-dimensional finish on it. Just nice details all around. So we're gonna essentially, there's a little wrap on here, so I'll take off this wrap real quick. You know, typical to any more shiny plastic finishes, which they have on the side here. But yeah, all it is one USB-C. Now I will say there is a slight downside for some folks. If you were hoping for an Ethernet option, there is not, as you can see. The only input is that USB-C. There is no Ethernet on these. They are Wi-Fi only, which, you know, if you were going to be a lotto miner with these, isn't going to help your luck at all. But again, these are really meant to be more like a true home miner that you've set it, forget it, and you don't even know it's there. Again, it's meant to be a space heater, easy on and off. Like I said, you just hold this on and off. So if you set up all your pools and stuff, you know, when you do need some heat, it's gonna mine for you. So we're gonna hop in to setting this up, doing our initial setup here, and take off a little more plastic. I got that there. We're gonna put in our USB-C. Again, it just kind of goes in the back here. Trying to do this one-handed for you guys. There we go. Nice little click. And then you plug, you know, the other end into the PSU and into the wall. And just like that, we are up and operating, got it plugged in. Going to open up our instructions here just for you guys, but they're pretty straightforward. It's only like 3 pages in each language. You know, just plug it in. Tells you how the power button versus the switch button work. Again, the switch is to change the modes or change what's on the screen depending on how many times you click it. Power mode is lighting and obviously power. Screen just tells you what's on there. Nothing else too crazy. Again, it just says you can change the air direction. This is going to be important. There is the QR code to download the app. I have confirmed on both Android and iOS that it does work and bring you to the page to download the app. So nice there. We are going to try and do a screen capture here on the setup process, which should be kind of walk you through that process. It is pretty straightforward, but like I said, there are a couple weird nuances that I think just a little speed bumps in the app process that I hope they can address over time. But other than that, like I said, there's not much else in here. Just, you know, heater control, lighting control, mining management, just kind of the basics here. So there is an option to go through the web to it, which I will get into later in this video as well. Okay, so we're in the Avalon remote app. You can see the one I already previously added, so we're going to be adding this new one. So real easy. You press the plus button in the upper corner. Now on your iPhone Wi-Fi, you'll have to change to, you know, whatever that equipment is. So we're going to do that real quick. No big deal. So once you've connected to the local Wi-Fi of the unit, you can click on next step. There we go. Then you can select your Wi-Fi. Might take a few moments for it to populate. There we go. This is very important. So I had a bunch of issues at first. when I was setting up the first unit. So the unit does not allow for any SSIDs that have characters, special characters. So like, apostrophes. So you can see one of these has an apostrophe S. So I did in fact have to change my SSID to not have any symbols of any type. So we're going to click on Hobbs's guess. I'm going to type in my password. And then once you've typed in the password, you're going to press save. Should get an IP, but again, it will not work with anything other than English letters and numbers, which it does say there. But again, I just could not figure out for the life of me what the problem was. Now, once you've actually logged on, as you can see here, it will say they're offline, and that's because I am not connected to the actual Wi-Fi anymore. So now that you've set up the Wi-Fi, you need to go back to your actual Wi-Fi, or else they will not show. All right, so once you've gone back onto your regular Wi-Fi network rather than the unit, you can now see that they're both here. Unfortunately, they've both defaulted to the same name. So not 100% sure which one is the right one. Give me a moment. All right, so we found the right one. I tested the light control button, and this is indeed the new one. So again, you can set low, medium, or high, a hash rate, which is also your heat level, brightness, color, temperature, palette, all that other stuff. This is where there's another kind of hiccup that I wish they would work on. So mining management down at the bottom here is where you, in theory, should be able to, change your mining settings. But we're going to see as I click on this here, it's going to give me an error. Unfortunately, it says, so for whatever reason, even though everything else can be controlled when you're not connected to the device's own Wi-Fi, so like the lighting control, the hash rate, mode, all that can be controlled anytime. For some reason, the mining management cannot be. The only way to get this to work in the app is to actually reconnect to the device's Wi-Fi. So again, a little clunky there, something they can work on. I'll see if I can get that to work here for you guys. So I've gone ahead and connected back to the device's own Wi-Fi. And now if I click on mining management, it should in fact load. Give it a moment. So I guess this is a good example. For whatever reason, I can't even get this to work right now. It worked one time. I'm not really sure how I got it to work. So I don't really know how it worked the one time. It seems, like I said, the only way you can ever access the mining management, the only time I've ever had luck is when I've been directly connected on the Wi-Fi, but even that doesn't seem to work all the times. I have noticed it works more frequently in the Android app than in the iOS app. And the really odd part is, like, if I click on logs here, you can see that I can view the logs. So I can even view the logs and literally control everything else except the mining pool data from the app. So just a weird clunkiness there. We're going to talk about a workaround, and that workaround is obviously to use your actual PC to program the pool, which, again, as a miner, I prefer the web UI anyway for Avalon miners. It just, has a lot more power than this app. But the app is, a nice touch. It just needs, it's just a little rough around the edges. It needs some polishing. So we're going to hop on over to the computer now and kind of go through the process of setting the pool and yeah, all the other comparisons and final thoughts on this unit.
Okay, so to jump onto the computer side of the UI here, what you're going to want to do is cycle through, pressing this bottom button here, and find your local IP address. And you're going to want to put that into your web browser. So you can see that we're going to be 192.168.101.210. So once you put that into your web browser, you'll be able to actually be able to access the UI on your computer. So we're going to hop on over to the computer and access this guy that way.
All right. So when you get to the IP address, you can see that I have it up here in my browser. You'll be greeted by the typical Avalon Miner Canaan login page, which the username and password are always root, or at least in my experience have always been that for Avalon miners. So you can see we logged in and we are met by the typical Avalon dashboard. Very similar to Bitmain or every other manufacturer's. I don't really have a preference either way, again. So you can see mining status, network status. Again, being on Wi-Fi, it's always going to be a little slower. And especially because it only works on 2.4 gigahertz. You can see our temperature, so that's your exhaust temperature, and then the hashboard temperature right now is 80 degrees. This is the default information, so default they have it going to, it looks like Brains Pool, and they have their own, information here. So, but everything else is pretty typical. So configuration is where you'll actually change, the pool data and your working data, depending on what pool you're using. Network, there isn't much in here that you can do because you do have to do it all in the app. So as you can see here, I can't set the Wi-Fi in it this way. You have to set the Wi-Fi through the app. It'd be nice if you didn't have to, but right now that's all you can do. You can reset it, which will force you to redo setup essentially at that point. You can see your logs, nothing crazy there. And obviously your standard system things, so password, upgrade, reboot, reset to factory. So we're going to go back to configuration because that's where we're going to do most of our stuff. So here you can kind of see all the different things. So you can change the airspeed without changing the hash rate. And that is an additional item you can do in here versus in, say, the app. So in the app, it will automatically change the airspeed when you move up to different, from the low, medium to high for the hash rate. But here you can actually change the airspeed irrelevant of the hash rate. So just something to note. And then this is all your standard stuff. So again, this you're going to have to follow for your own specific pool. So I'm using via BTC. That's where I've always put my mini miners for BTC, just because it has the lowest payout threshold. Brains Pool, I am a little surprised they went with Brains Pool as the default, mainly because it is rather high. It is 0.005 is the minimum payout, if I recall correctly, which on a 4 terahash unit would take quite some time to get to. Whereas on via BTC, minimum payout is 0.0001. Did I say that right? No, 0.001. So 1/5 the amount. So anyway, I'm gonna connect these here. You can see that I already have one on here, Avalon Nano Study. This was before I changed its name. Again, that was the first unit I set up, and we'll kind of get into what you can and can't do. This might be pool specific, so on via BTC, if you want to add anything, if you put any dashes or underscores, it will just cut off everything after that. So that's why I have 2 here, because I tried to give it a room in my house where it's going. So this other one is going to go in my wife's study as a little heater for her. This other one, I am not sure yet. Maybe in the bedroom. I'm not really sure. But again, will depend on your pool. I'm just going to do a quick setup here for via BTC. So obviously I'm going to need my stratum information.
I, for now, will just delete all the extra ones. I can fill those in later. Again, this is all pretty standard. It would be nice if you could do this in the app reliably. Again, I was able to access it in the app one time so far, but it seems to not work very well. But at least you can, once you have the unit connected to Wi-Fi, access it through a local computer on the network. For via BTC, I'm gonna have to use my account name, so Motor City Miner, and then we'll call this Avalon Nano. We'll say bedroom. Sure, why not? And then we'll press save. It will tell you that it needs to reboot. So it on Avalons, you typically have to manually reboot. So I'm going to do that here. And once it reloads, we should get a login page and then see it pop up here on the pool side. Now you will also see that I do have a FutureBit Apollo, which I've had for many years at this point. Which, I thought was a pretty cool mini miner at the time, especially because it's a full node and a full computer all in one. But, in retrospect, I think this is 3 of the original units too. So each of the original units did 3 terahashes. And you could buy like add-ons to it. So it's just crazy that, this thing can do 4 terahash at 140 watts, whereas I believe this 9 terahash that it's currently doing is at like 600 watts, maybe even 700 watts. I don't quite remember. Again, just kind of a set of forget it, and I have a node on the Bitcoin network, help decentralize the network. But really loving these mini miners. Again, this one's just at 10-minute average of 232 because I have it on the low power mode right now. Again, I really like that you don't have to go in the app to change the power mode. So if again, I really like the idea here that essentially they're trying to make a space heater first that also makes you money. So, whoever you're buying this for, your significant other, they don't need to know anything about crypto. You just set up all the stuff on the back end, and they just turn it on and off and pick the setting they want for how warm they want to be, and you get to make some money, which is awesome. So let's see if this is rebooted. Hopefully it has here. So you can see that the login page has reappeared here. It has rebooted. So we can go back in, but yeah, and see those configurations have indeed been processed. So, Avalon Nano bedroom, and it has also shown up on the pool side. So again, right now they're just in low hash rate mode, low output. So they're doing about 2 terahash. And again, that's at, a decent amount of savings. I think it's 60 watts, but we can look at that in a moment. Okay, so I brought up the Indiegogo, which is, again, pretty much just a competitor to Kickstarter page. You can see that this is Canaan's, and they have met all their goals and obviously are now shipping these out. They're in shipping, but this is where you can still buy them. They do not sell them directly on their website yet. So let's kind of go through all the information here. Like I said, you can indeed get different colors now. So they have a pink, a yellow, a blue, along with the black and white that were originally there. Again, if you just want a single unit, $97 USD, which is just crazy. If you want it with a power supply, it's an additional $30, but still $127 for what is not really a lottery miner. Again, are you going to earn much with these? No. Can you use it as a lottery miner? For sure. But again, for $130, it's knocking all the competition out of the park. You can see what I had here. So there were 50 of us, like I had mentioned earlier in this video, or 50 units available. I don't know how many people got the initial invite, but the super early bird, there were 50 units at $197 each, and that came with a PSU. And then once the actual campaign started on Indiegogo, if you were one of the first investors, then it was $107 for a full set, which includes the PSU. But now, again, it's either $127 for a full set, which is still, in my mind, crazy for what this is, or $97 if you already have a USB-C, PSU at home, or right now it looks like the colored options only come with a PSU. So if you want, bright yellow, peach fuzz, or midnight blue, which are their 3 colors, that's how you would do those. So again, it's just a really impressive product. Knocks all the competition out of the park. Here's all the different colors you can see. Again, real simple, minimalistic design. Here's some of the data. Again, 140 watts max, 4 terahash. You can see the different amounts here. So there's 140 watts, 100 watts, or 65 watts. So that's 2 terahash at 65 watts, 3 terahash at 100 watts, or 4 terahash at 140 watts. So gives you 3 different options, which is great. Again, here's all the different colors. Really cool stuff. Again, talks about the app. Nothing too crazy here, but this is where you would buy it. If you did do that, it is kind of weird because everything's actually in the checkout in Singapore dollars, because that is where Canaan is located. So these numbers are kind of just the conversion rate. But just something to keep in mind. So when you go into the checkout, don't be shocked. Just make sure that it says SGD if it's not the number you expected, because again, I believe the checkout always posts the SGD number, the Singapore dollar, first. All right, and one last thing. Again, I just want to compare this to other similar products on the market right now, whether they're lottery miners or little better than lottery miners. So here is the future bit. Here we go. Here are the different products you can get. So you can spend $2,000 for this limited edition. We're not going to count that, because if someone wants a limited edition, obviously they're willing to pay more. So if you want the full node, it's typically $1,100, or if you want the standard version, which is just the ASIC itself, is $800. $800 versus $100. And that $800, what does it get you? It gets you maximum of 10 terahash at 450 watts versus 140 watts at 4 terahash. Again, the Canaan is just a game changer in the mini BTC market. I cannot stress this enough. What other options do we have? Well, we have the Bitcoin merch Marslander. Yes, you see that right. 250 gigahash, so a quarter of a terahash, for $430. Yes, this is meant to be marketed as a lottery miner, but why on earth would someone pay 4 times the cost for, what is that, 1/16 the hash rate? Again, Canaan, I have no idea how you've done this, but 4 terahash at $100 has just changed the game. Again, I am not paid by them. I did not. I mean, I paid for this. Like, I have no affiliation with them. I am just that astounded by this product. So again, just another cheap Bitcoin miner for home mining that's knocked out of the park. And the other product I wanted to compare this to is the very popular lottery miner, the BitAxe. Again, nothing against BitAxe, but Avalon just came in here and just threw all these mini BTC ASICs down. So the BitAxe, I'm actually looking at the newest one. So this is the Supra. The 1366 was the most recent until this one. So the 1368 is their newest, which gets 628 gigahash. Okay, so 0.62 of a terahash. But again, this is the Canadian price because this is a Canadian store. So $200 to $215 Canadian. So that's about $160 American. But still, $160 American for 620 gigahash versus $100 or $130 if you buy the PSU for 4 terahash. That's 4,000 gigahash. Again, Canaan, I have no idea how you did this, but this is hands down the coolest home Bitcoin miner that has ever been made. Is good quality, works well, pretty relatively easy setup, doubles as a heater, looks inconspicuous. Honestly, it is just hands down one of the coolest decentralization products I've ever seen. Decentralize the hash rate, allows more people to get into mining. Really, what mining's all about is accessibility and decentralization, and that's exactly what this project does. I absolutely love it. I could not be more happy with a $100 purchase in the crypto space. So that's kind of all I got today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this content. Again, links down below so you can purchase one of these for yourself. Again, not financial advice, just a cool product that has been done really well by a brand that's been in the space for a long time and really just knocked it out of the park with this. So again, comment down below, like, subscribe, and that's all I got today on the Canaan Avalon Nano 3. Until next time.